Hey everybody, welcome back to Mel's Board Game Room. So the beginning of the video showed an introduction of unboxing the printer, the 3D printer I just purchased. And I'm not doing that in this video. And I played this one anyways because for some reason my software is not allowing me to upload a new video. So we're using that one for now. What I am doing is I'm going to show you what I 3D printed for a game called Zombie Dice. So I have Zombie Dice set up right over here. Let me put that in the forefront there. So Zombie Dice is a very simple dice rolling game that was designed by Steve Jackson Games. And it's one that we play often. Now, Will Wheaton used to have a tabletop series and they played this one and they actually had little brains to keep score, and I've wanted brains for this game ever since. However, every Halloween I would look and there was never quite what I wanted, so this was one of the first thing that I printed for board games. I did tons of printing, but it was like printing spools and poop chute catchers and that sort of stuff. So finally, I'm printing stuff for board games, and this is one of the first thing that I have printed. Now, so Zombie Dice, you would just take 3 dice, like the rest of the dice are kept in the container here. You would roll 3 dice, and every brain, you get to decide if you're going to keep the brain or push, and then you always roll 3 dice. Shot in the face, don't get re-roll those. We call them shot in the face. I don't know what they're really called, but it just stuck. My kids call them shot in the face, and you would roll again. And if you ever get 3 shot in the face, you get to collect nothing. You bust. So before I would have rolled, I might have stopped and decided to take 1 brain. And then you're supposed to keep track of this score somewhere. But instead, we'll be just collecting actual brains. So I have 3D printed some brains. Look at them. They look amazing. This is so cool. Now, this is also the first print that I did that had support. And what I mean about that is when it printed it, I'll show you there I can't find the camera. Okay, so when it printed it printed that little layer on the bottom to kind of get the proper level for the print. So this is the first one that I printed that had support. Now, this is a bit of a pain because you have to remove this support. And this is such a tiny, they're just tiny, right? So that they don't come out easy. So one of the things that I purchased is I purchased a set of 3D tools, and this is part of this. So they're just little cutting tweezers. I don't know if needle nose pliers would work best for this, but I ended up using this, and I figured I would just show you the hassle that this was. So, and I'm just kind of tearing away at that bottom layer. And so I had to do that for every single brain that I printed. Now I did 21 per print, and I did it 3 times. So, and then I just kind of cleaned them all up, and I kept this one to show you what this all involved. So now I've removed most of this off. It's still not pretty here. Like, there are still tons of stuff. So as I said, if I didn't have this tool, I would have tore my hair out. So you'll want to get this tool or at least some sort of pliers to remove this if you're doing this. Like I said, this is the only one that I've printed so far that has these support. And then once you can get like a good grab, like, it comes off fairly nice. But it's fidgety. And there's so I had to do that with every brain. Now, personally, I found this kind of relaxing, and I have bad lighting in here for me to do it. So I'm just going to show you kind of what it ended up looking like. A little bit of a walnut, isn't it? There. So that was the process for, there goes the process for making these brains. So I have 63 brains. I'm hoping that'll be enough. I guess it'll depend on the number of players. There is an expansion that I actually own that came with a couple of brain tokens, but there's not enough to keep. This was just if you had extra brains, and you could kind of use those for keeping track, but not enough to keep for score. So yeah, so this is one of my first, not the first 3D printed for board games. It's my second one, but it's the first one I'm talking about. So all the brains for zombie dice. Yeah, so I'm planning on showcasing different prints that I do specifically for board games on my channel. So this was the first one. Stay tuned if you want to see what else I've been able to do with the 3D printer. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye, everybody.